What's up, everyone? Marco here on Open Mat Podcast, and today's special guest from Part Time Jiu Jitsu, my good buddy Bruno.
Hello.
Bruno, how are you, man?
I'm good.
How are you? How's the weather?
So it's an easy question because I live in Florida, so it's always the same.
Starting well.
Yeah, there's nothing to even Google or check. I can say the same thing. Oh, it's sunny, a few clouds, pretty warm.
Look at me. There's too much sun today. Too much sun in my eyes. Well, here in Montreal, it's a windy -5 degrees. Okay, so
Wow.
enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, you guys get seasons, right? So you got the fall, you got the summer, right? So there's some of that. That's nice too, be able to.
Seasons. We can have like Florida-ish weather, and then we're Antarctica kind of thing. It's like it's the complete opposite. Montreal is like known for that. I don't know why people must love. It's like if you love the cold, come to Montreal.
Yeah.
If you love summer, come to Montreal. And if you enjoy potholes on the street, come to
Yeah.
Montreal as well, because that's what we're known
But
for.
if you enjoy that like lovely European architecture, strolling through the street, going to see castles, and all if you like that, there's a lot of good stuff too. Just to I know that you love your city, but just to rep it.
So Bruno, I want to ask you, what got you started, sir, in jiu-jitsu? What made you plunge into this world of pain and pajama slamming and no-gi and spandex fighting?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that I had always been curious about jiu-jitsu from watching MMA, right? I think that's the journey was kind of a normal person, you see some fighting in movies or you street or fighting or whatever. Like I never got into a fight, but you kind of know fighting exists, right? I'm going like deep here, like the foundational beginnings of jiu-jitsu in my mind, deep,
Yeah.
like, as a child, like Power Rangers, action movies. Okay, great. Nothing happens. The UFC starts to get big, right? And I'm from Brazil, so there's a lot of Brazilian fighters in the UFC. I mean, Brazil was always like a big deal. There's always talked about as much as I remember, like in my memory. And so you're like, oh, interesting. You think it's all about punching and kicking. You start to learn a little bit more. There's a whole ground game, grappling, takedown side of it. And then that's when you start hearing about jiu-jitsu, right? That's usually when that's a big entry point, I think. And that's when I first heard about it. Okay, great. Then maybe several years went by, and I think I also hit the other entry point, which is the, Joe Rogan podcast, where, just as a listener, you get like, oh, it's the best thing ever. And, when you do jiu-jitsu, you're going to feel in better shape. You're going to be athletic. Everybody should do it. Da, 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 da. And, you hear that 4 or 5 times over the course of a year or two, you're like, something's going on there, right? Because the things I remember were, testing yourself, learning, what a high adrenaline combat situation feels like, I think is what I was interested in, with a somewhat low injury rate. That's sort of the sweet spot between different from striking arts. It's hard to get that level of intensity that you get in a jiu-jitsu roll with that somewhat low level of injury, right? I think that's where a lot of the magic comes, because in a hard roll, like you really feel, especially when you're like starting, you get that adrenaline. Like I don't want to compare it to a real fight because the stakes are much lower, but it's intense, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then that was like kind of part one of my awareness of it. And then I actually worked with a guy who was a black belt, and then his whole team was like, they all did jiu-jitsu. Like his guy who worked with him was also like a purple belt. I don't know. They're always talking about it. And they kind of singled me out and they said, hey, like you should come train with us. Like you look like you would enjoy it. I don't know. Cause I had talked about, I don't know, something relative to it. I never trained with them, but that planted the seed. And then I was actually moving to Chicago, and they said, oh, there's actually, a former professor of mine who's teaching there. You should check it out. And it was close to where I was working. And when I moved, I was sort of like, new me, new life. Let me go train. And then, I mean, that was like, I remember the first class was like, I was like, man, this thing is for me.
You never forget that first class.
Mm-hmm.
Those tears, those rubs, those burns.
Well,
scratches everywhere.
yeah, it just I just felt so I felt so like proud of myself. I think was the best way to say it. Like I felt like I was doing something that was very difficult. I was having
Mm.
fun doing it, and I was really not too bothered by getting beat up, by losing the rolls, or it just felt like it
Yeah.
was a sweet spot between learning and getting a workout and getting beat up, but in a technical way. So I was kind of amazed at like, wow, this is cool. This is different.
Yeah, like getting comfortable being uncomfortable was like the big changer for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what was going on, and I had a feeling in my heart like it's gonna go two ways. I'm gonna be a little scaredy cat and just say it's enough. I experienced it, or I'm gonna stick around and see what these lightweights did to me and how they did to me and so fast, and why did I lose in three
Yeah.
seconds, 5 seconds? Why am I almost crying here?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty big, you know. So that was a you never forget that first time.
Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. And I think like what a lesson was for me was that I was like, man, these people that are beating me, like they've seen these situations before. They know this position.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's like they are, you know, their feet are between my legs and they're sitting. Like maybe I should push them. Kind of you're inventing things, right? But that's like for them, it's like
Yeah,
they're in butterfly guard. I'm you know and I'm
and they're
I'm
sweet.
passing butterfly guard. Like now I know,
Yeah,
but like uh, I probably need to control one of these legs. So um, and they're thinking about the sweep, where I didn't even know the word sweep back then. So it's like what I learned after a while is that recognizing positions as something you've done many times before, and like each position has a strength and a weakness and a strategy, is what I more and more learn in jiu-jitsu. And I think that when I look back, it seemed like magic, but that's the fundamental core of what was happening when a new white belt gets beat up by all the experienced white belts. I think not even the blue belts, but is that experience shows you the roadmap for each one of those situations, right? It's not chaos.
yeah, for sure. And even there's a saying like you learn a lot on and off the mats. So being off the mats, is there anything you felt like you gained from jujitsu?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a million things. I think like I've thought a lot about these things. Like there's this level of confidence that comes from jujitsu and off the mats, and it's not like, oh, I could, I know how to fight. It's just I wonder what it is, but it's like I know how I react under extreme pressure and discomfort, and like I've done it all on the mats, like panicking, strength, pushing, screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of it really helps. It's just being able to stay calm, cool, like think quickly but accurately. And so that translates to, meetings. It translates to moments where you need to think quickly in the real world. It translates to stress at work. You're like, look, I don't need to freak out because that's not going to get any kind of outcome that I want. It's probably best to be, settled and centered. I like that word,
Yeah,
centered, and take the best next action. And there's also a level of like, what's the worst that could happen, right? Like you're in a stressful
yeah,
situation outside of the mat. Like, let's say it's a work situation. Someone's really angry. Um, like they could yell at me. That's not good, but it's not going to hurt
yeah,
me. Um,
exactly.
they could like punch me, but then I know how to defend myself. Doesn't mean I'm going to like win if there's, I don't know what situation I'm describing where someone randomly is just punching you in a meeting, but
But
you get a sense for
yeah,
like,
you'll
you kind
just
of know all the outcomes. You can imagine all the outcomes with more comfort because you've been in a lot more
yeah,
of them, right? Does that make sense?
exactly. Yeah, it does actually. And even I was trying to think right now, like as you're giving your own examples, like little things in life that could stress you, or big things too. Like let's say when you're driving, if you agree with me on this one, let's say driving back then, someone cut me off,
Yeah.
I would lose my
Mm-hmm.
mind. Guy would honk at me, I would honk at him, I would swear, I'd lose my mind. I would waste so much energy. Whereas now it's like, okay, this guy cut me off. Nothing much I can do with it. I'll just let him go. He's aggressive. Let him go and be on with his life. And it just like it's not even a second in my mind. Whereas
Yeah.
before, I would keep it in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I get to work. I get to
Yeah.
home to my wife. This guy cut me off. This and that, that, and that. Those little things are just like it's a
Yeah.
silly game. It's just
Yeah. And I
pointless,
think that
And
in those situations, I like the traffic situation. Like I think I used
I
to,
love
yeah.
traffic. Now I love
Yeah. Well,
traffic.
as a podcast host, traffic is a big source of minutes downloads. So you're like, more potholes, more construction. People need to be in traffic, so they
More.
listen.
Close more
Close
streets.
exactly. So no, I think there's a balance, but I feel like I used to do either two things. I'd get angry like you, or I would like stuff it down, kind of like the opposite of anger, which is also not good, which is like repressing it. When you're like, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I'm not a guy who gets angry at people cutting me off. I'm super zen. I don't think that's where I am either. I'm not saying that's where you are, but like I think there's a balance where like
Mm-hmm.
you feel that anger, right? And you kind of let it run
Yeah.
through you,
Mm-hmm.
but you can let it go. It's like there's nothing to be done in that situation. And like the guy cuts me off and I'm like, I feel that anger. I feel that it's this contempt, just like, how can this person, what kind of person is this? Meanwhile, I've certainly cut people off before. So there's a joke where, everyone going faster than you is crazy and everyone going slower than you is like a slow idiot. They're not going exactly your speed.
They're still crazy. They're still crazy. Crazy they're going slower, crazy they're going
exactly.
fast.
Unless they're going exactly 48 kilometers an hour like you are, then there's something's wrong with them. But yeah, I try to feel it. Even on the mat, that's taught me, you're stuck under someone's mount, and the energy of like, I want to get out. Like it can be very helpful if you channel it in the right way. When you, the example I love most is like getting the underhook from under side control. So a lot of times that's the beginning of a lot of escapes, right? Like getting that the bottom underhook, right, for your the arm that's closer to your, let's say, like your waist, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the beginning of a lot of escapes. But just getting to that it's going to require some energy, right? Like some anger. It's because just step one, like get that underhook. Okay, but what? Okay, yeah,
exactly.
How? Bridge up powerfully to create space to get the underhook. And like when I talk about like techniques and stuff, I'm sure like there's 100 people saying this is what an idiot, but I am an idiot. I don't know anything, but there is a technique, I'm sure, to get that underhook. But a lot of times I'm just like, there's this one instructional that I watched on escaping, and the guy was like, look, first get the underhook, and to get the underhook, you're going to pretend that your kid is trapped under a bus, and you're just going to push that bus off the kid and get them. That's the technique. Like pretend that it's going to save your family's life. And I've done that ever since. I'm stuck under. I need the underhook. It's not very technical, but
yeah. Well, that's actually one of my next questions too. Actually, let's say because I haven't done competition yet. It's on my bucket list for this year.
Nice, awesome, amazing.
Thank you. Still have to sign up though. Still to register, but I'm almost
there. That's okay. Once you hit register, you'll feel it.
Yeah. That's what I want to ask you. Let's say when you're rolling the gym versus competition. Right now, I can't really express how I feel from competition to in class, but in class, I know, and I'm not saying this because there's a sound. I know I'm not giving 100%.
That you're not.
The reason for that is, yeah. Because the reason is for that for me, and I'll ask how you feel on this one. It's not, maybe it's because I'm a parent, I feel fatherly, I like, if someone's hurt, are you okay? It's a combination of me saying, okay, I know these guys, they're my friends, I don't want to go 100% on them, and I'm not here to hurt anyone, I'm just here to learn. So I really want to learn as much as I can in class. Yeah. But if ever I feel I go to competition, that good old quote, I see red, I think I'll put my father part to the side and say, okay, let's go. Are you two different people, competition versus in class? Yeah. Or are you just like 100%, I'm here. You want to hurt me? I'll hurt you.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I think that it's very different. I'm definitely two different people. And there's the right mindset that I reach in competition, and there's the wrong mindset, and I can talk about them both because they're both like different mindsets in competition. There's no like competition Bruno. It's just there's two different Brunos over there too. Like the one that got to the right mindset and the one that failed at it. So
two different
hats. Yeah. The one that fails, the mindset I've had in some competitions that I think is the wrong one for me is, I see red is like this anger, this like very like, it's not anger. It's this like aggressive,
the switch, the kill
Yeah,
switch. That's it.
aggressive. I'm
That
gonna let's go. Blah.
yeah.
And I think that what happens with me is that it blocks a lot of like creative thought, and it blocks a lot of like quick, reactive and proactive thinking that you need to execute technique correctly, and it just creates a lot of spastic speed and like really putting strength into things,
Yeah.
which is not very productive for the competition, right?
No.
The main thing that when you start competing, for me, let me talk about myself. When I started competing, the adrenaline level is so high that talking about what's the right mindset is kind of useless, because the adrenaline was so high that I was just in survive. I was trying to step on the mat. I was trying not to run away, right? There's no like,
Yeah.
let me get into my mindset. It's like, don't go home. Don't poop your pants. Like that's like the one objective, right? So you step on the mat, great,
Yeah.
success, right? And there's this one moment, like everything before stepping on the mat is like tense. You're like, it's for me for the first time I competed, first and maybe the other few times, like, okay, just breathe, just relax, keep going. As soon as you're about to step on the mat, there's this moment of like, what am I doing? Like, what is this? Like, this is, have you ever jumped off a tall cliff, like to the water? Like, it's the moment that you step off the cliff and you're like, this is bad idea. And people might be thinking, this guy is scared of competing, but yeah, I am. I was, and I am, and I'll keep doing it. But the fear is there. Then, when you touch hands with your opponent and it starts, it's like wonderful. It's like you hit the water. It's this moment of pure flow in the good, when it works out, right? Flow, and you're out of your ego. You're completely in the moment. You're thinking of moves. You can hear your coach. You see your opponent. And it's an incredible thing. But the anger, the aggressiveness, the seeing red, I think it gets in the way, right? I think the good mindset is one that I've reached maybe twice in 2 different competitions, which is this like, the high energy is there. The aggressiveness is there. Like, I'm not going to hold anything back. If I'm going to collar drag you, like I will 100% of my, boom, pull it down.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I wasn't nervous about the outcome. It was like going to a party, and at that party, there was a jiu-jitsu match, or like 3 that I was in.
Yeah.
As part of like the party, right? And I really felt this way, like once in my life, competing life. But I'm not a professional or anything, so like the stakes are much lower, so whatever. But it was just fun. It was complete fun. I got there, said hi to everybody, saw some great friends, like joking with people. Okay, it's my time. Got on the mat, like just had a really good time. But was aggressive, was strong, was pushing myself and my opponent, like, it was just so much fun. And that was one that I won, got gold, and it was just this really weird feeling.
Nice.
Yeah, because, I don't know, I was just having a good time. Yeah.
That's awesome. Gold medal, nice stuff. Did you like take your medal and scream out like Adrian? Like, I did it,
Man.
I must have been proud. That's awesome.
Not that one, but the first time I won gold. And look, let me be clear. These are like local competitions. They're very like masters to 36-year-old to 40-year-old blue belts in the 185-pound category in Southern Florida, like a very small part of the world. Yeah, exactly. The first time I won a gold medal, I don't think my mind knew the difference between being the IBJJF World Adult Champion and that little gold medal that I got in my like neighborhood championship. Like, it was just so powerful. And I'm not someone who ever really won anything. Like, I'm like a nerd, like you most likely. Exactly. Hey, that's my name. Always grew up, playing video games, grew up like as the like sort of chubby kid that was bad at sports, didn't get picked. And it was always a little bit of a part of who I saw myself as. Like, I'm not that good at sports. It's okay, but let's just, can maybe do well in school. Just run. I used to run a lot just to stay in shape. I played rugby in college, and I was like so bad. People think jujitsu is violent. It's like, go play rugby for one day. It's the
Rug- Rugby's like football without
Yeah,
equipment, right?
exactly. And like we had this massive team, and like you need to like, and apologies to any rugby experts, this might not reflect reality, but like half our people were injured all the time. So we had this big team, we'd have these parties, and like half the team would be like in crutches, and we're like, okay, we need like double the size of the team so that we can exist as a team, because half of the time people are not on the team because they're hobbling around. But
Just backup
exactly.
support. Yeah.
But anyway, I wasn't someone who really won anything from an athletic or sports perspective. And like, and then jiu-jitsu is very individual, right? You have your coach, you have your team, blah, 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 but it's you in that mat. And the way I won, it was this, I got taken down, or I like pulled the guy into half guard after he tried to foot sweep me. So it was a takedown.
Okay.
So he had two nothing. And he was like passing, etc. Then I eventually got some kind of spider guard and swept him, or like lasso and swept him, like got under his other leg and swept him that way. But this is all gi stuff, so
Yeah, exactly. All gi moves. These are all gi.
Was it spider guard or lasso?
Yeah.
And you're like,
I know what you're talking about. I know those moves, but like, yeah, I can't really do that.
man, I don't know. I don't want to say things that people are gonna get mad at, but like spider guard is tough. Spider guard is tough. I respect it a lot, because spider guard is when you grip the sleeves of the gi. Like imagine the gi is here. You get like this, and then you put your leg on their bicep, and you're just sort of they're like a puppet.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard in your fingers, it's hard in your hand. Like you're just holding that grip, and there's some people are so good at creating a strong grip there, and then like. One of those things that when it works, it looks like magic. And one of the things that when you try it and you're bad at it, it just feels so awkward, right? But anyway, I got one of those and swept the guy. So it was like 2-2. And I think we both had two advantages. It was a weird thing. And then there was like 8 seconds. I swept him, and I was in side control. And I swept straight into side control. So it was like just 2 points for the sweep. And so it was 2-2. 8 seconds left. And my coach is like, you're like, it's tied. Go to knee on belly. Go to knee on belly. So I could like score those points, right? So it wouldn't be a tie.
Like a Hail Mary. Go.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just remember like, boom, like put my knee on him. And this guy's like, and you just stabilize for 3 seconds, right? So I'm like, like trying to keep my knee on this guy. Oh my God. And then I hear the thing's over. And I didn't think I had gotten the points because I saw the ref. I didn't move or anything. And so what actually happened was, I'm telling the story wrong. Sorry about this. I needed the points to tie. That was it. I needed the points to tie the match. So even worse. Like people who complain BJJF gi, everybody wins by advantage, no one does anything. Because literally I'm trying to like tie this match. It was an exciting match. Yeah. I got the knee on belly and I got the tie. But then I thought I had lost because I did the math wrong or something. So in the video you just see me like slam the mat, like angry, like boom, like I lost. And my coach's like, no, it's a tie. And I had spent the last like 2 minutes being like the more aggressive guy. I had swept the knee on belly, right? So like there was some hope. Yeah. But it was the ref's decision. And I remember the ref is like just standing there. I'm standing there with and this guy raises my hand. So even more adrenaline, right? Because I didn't even know who had won until he raised my hand. Yeah, I'd been looking at the tie. It was like 2-2. It was like that 2-2, 2 advantages, 2-2, 2-2, something like that. And he raised his hand, man, and I'll send you the video at some point if you want. I'm just jumping up and down. Like, my family was there with little what do you call them? Like little signs, like, oh, daddy, la, la, la. Yeah. And I just start jumping up and down. And like the etiquette is like you're supposed to greet your opponent, you're supposed to say thank you to your opponent, then you go to the coach. Then you go to your coach, right?
Yes, the coach.
And the ref, right? Whatever. I don't even remember the order. I was like just jumping up and down on the mat. Like I had won some kind of
whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't want to disrespect anybody, but I was just so happy. Imagine like 35 years of thinking of myself as someone who didn't like win stuff athletically. Yeah. Yeah. And then that was the classic 2-man division where I got gold. Just one match. So I mean, that's what I love about jujitsu later in life, later, like in our 30s and stuff, is like, or whenever people pick it
Mm-hmm.
up, like it is an opportunity to completely reinvent, restart, rediscover things in ourselves. You see people who were overweight, now they have six packs. You see people who never competed, now they have gold medal. You see people who didn't have a community, now they have a community. You see people who like were depressed. And it's just so many little transformations that you see happen. And because it's a balance
Yeah.
between struggle, but there's also support and technique and learning. I don't know. It's very unique as we always talk about.
No, for sure. I love like I know sometimes people ask me about jujitsu because they really don't know anything about it, but I always tell them like I don't want to force people to do anything. I always say we have one free
Yeah.
class at jujitsu. It's
Yeah.
free. Just
Awesome.
come and you see, and you can go two ways. You get scared, you quit, or you're like, holy crap,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
sign me up, kind of thing.
I think everyone should
And I
try
love
it.
the people
Yeah.
that sign up.
Everyone should
Yeah.
try it. I don't push it on anybody. It's like my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never say you need to do jujitsu. And I think one big thing is that like you can get injured, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
it can happen. If you tell someone, hey, you should play tennis, and then they break their ankle and they need surgery
Go.
and stuff, like it's like unfortunately that sort of feels like an accident of life. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I tripped and fell. Because tennis not a violent, it's not like a
Mm-hmm.
martial art. But jujitsu, you tell someone you
Yeah.
need to go jujitsu, it's gonna change your life, and they go and they break their ankle. It's so I would feel responsible for putting them in that situation,
Yeah.
and I don't want to. I think we're both on the same wavelength. It's like I want to show people how wonderful it is. I want to show people that I love it and that
Yeah.
I've chosen it for myself, and others who have done so are also
Mm-hmm.
very happy. But I'm well aware of the risks. I have been injured,
Yeah.
and I take those risks without anybody having like pushed anything on me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's just one thing that I want people to know is that like there are risks. I don't have the stats, but it's very safe, I think. So let me talk about my own
Mm-hmm.
perception is that I perceive it as very safe. The statistics that I've read show it as one of the safest martial arts, especially sparring martial arts, right? Um,
Yes.
like, is it safer than like karate, kata, training on your own? Of course, it's not as safe as that. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of sparring martial arts, where you get this level of adrenaline, like statistically, it's probably one of the safest. So I think we're on the same page. Just getting people to try it and see for themselves.
Yeah, it's. I think if I ever have a goal, it's like to just make people try. If they ask me, try something different to get them out of their comfort zone and just try something like not they're used to. Something out of be different. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But at least you try
Mm-hmm.
something new. But then if they say they like it and they want to continue, that's where I love it
Yes.
because whoever comes to the gym now and they're new, I always try to be like I motivate them. Okay, this is good, or like don't put your hand here. Maybe you won't put your hand a little bit slightly here, or don't put your
Yeah.
hands out. Like you're doing good. Don't worry, keep up. And then they're there for a
Mm-hmm.
month, 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's what
Yeah.
I want. I want to build people. I want to build a community and see how you build relationships. Like I've gained so many
Oh, for
friends
sure.
through jujitsu. It's amazing. It's like even in Instagram, it's like I know so many people now,
Man,
and it's
I've
such a
met. I've
blessing.
been on Instagram for like 2 months with this account, like seriously trying to like grow and do stuff and post stuff. And like I've
Yeah.
met so many wonderful people. Like I want to do a post where I like kind of thank them all.
Oh,
Everyone
for
who is
sure.
like messaging me and like I'll just go. I don't know. I'm sharing problems with people. Like hey, like you know, uh, and then the picture of the guy is like a foot, and he's like the heel hook master 89, and we're talking about so, like a life philosophy or something, you know. Um,
Yeah.
like I'm not saying everyone in jiu-jitsu is a wonderful person, but there's something about surviving in jiu-jitsu for many years. It's sort of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of jerks get weeded out.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to have like a big
Yeah.
ego and be a bad person and survive in jiu-jitsu because you're just being humbled, beat up all the time.
That was the word. I was like the hatred. Say the word.
Yeah, he's gonna say it, guys.
Say it. And that's what actually. I'll ask you a question, but just before I ask this question, I want to agree with you. Like for jiu-jitsu being one of the safest sports, because from my own experience, uh, I started before I started jiu-jitsu. I had a bad tear in my back, MRIs, everything,
Oh
hernia.
wow,
I never got the cortisone shot.
a disc.
The technician said, Yeah, the disc. A lot of movement in my disc. About it moved like 22 millimeters, which is not a lot, but it was enough to not make me walk like for 4 or 5 days.
Oh,
Switch
how
my
did
back
that
every six
happen? Like
months,
an
every
accident or
year.
just?
Well, coming back again to Montreal in the beautiful snow, being out of shape for a couple of years, stopped training, and when it snows, this specific snow where it's really
Yeah.
wet and heavy, I decided to like bend down on my knees and just torque and pull, throw the snow in a
Oh wow.
weirdest way. That instant, I felt a
Ah.
pop. I go back inside my house. I'm like, honey, my back is like
Ugh.
flaring. I'm not in pain. It's flaring. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to the spa the next day.
Oh wow.
Great. I'll just get a massage the next day. I wake up in the morning. As soon as I stand up, my back just like explodes. Pain. I was getting intervals of pain every 15, 20
Wow.
minutes. Basically, I blew my back. And the way I slept probably didn't help either. So it really I couldn't move for 4 or 5 days. I couldn't go to the bathroom. My wife helped me put my
Wow.
socks on for like almost 6 months. So
Wow.
that happened. Doctors, all the physios,
So what did they
everything.
say? Like
I
it
went
was
through the
slipped,
highest
yeah,
pain.
slip disc like outside of the vertebrae.
Yeah,
Oh
it
no.
slipped. It's like it didn't. I think the term is explode, like where the disc actually leaks
Mm-hmm.
gel or leaks the what's in your disc. I didn't go to that, thankfully, or else it would
Mm-hmm.
much worse. But I never did any surgery. I didn't fuse my back. I didn't listen to anyone. The doctors, you're gonna be like this for the rest of your life. Lo and behold, I took the year. I did my stretches. I did everything I could, and then I found
Yeah.
jujitsu, boxing just before. And while I was doing jujitsu, that pain never came back,
Wow.
and it only made my back
Yeah, yeah.
stronger. So in jiu-jitsu, yeah, there are injuries, but they're good injuries,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Like you get soreness from the shoulders, the elbows, maybe your heels, a lot of shin to shin
Yeah.
sometimes in no gi, but those are
Mm-hmm.
normal pain. It's not like you're gonna blow something up in case in competition there's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
risk, of course, but it's jiu-jitsu is really something that
Mm-hmm.
can honestly make you stronger, not just mentally
Yeah.
but physically. I have never felt greater now than soon to be 38 years old.
Me too. Like I think
So
someone asked me like, do you regret starting so late? Don't you wish you had started before? When I started, now I'm 36, so I was
mm-hmm,
33 maybe when I started, and
mm-hmm,
like, sure, I wish I had started when I was 5, so I could be like a red belt, but like not really. But there would have been good things about starting earlier. Yes, sure,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I've gotten to become like the best shape I've ever been at 36. So you get to see your body, and same thing you've been through. You get to see your body transforming from like a
mm-hmm,
computer human with like no
yeah,
muscles. I mean, it's wonderful to feel so good at 36, 38. And like I can do like a handstand. I can like chase my kids around. I can pick up all kinds of stuff. My kids are like, "Oh, Daddy,
exactly.
you're the strongest man in the world," and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yes, you're
True.
right."
Yeah.
It's like,
I think
yeah.
that's the
And like I see other friends who don't train, and like nothing against people need to make their choices and stuff, but it's just like you know yeah, I have pain like every day because of the soreness of training. Twist this, twist my ankle, whatever. Like there's things that happen, but like they have
yeah.
high blood pressure and um, other things which might be risk for them. They're more overweight and stuff like that. And I'm not like judging they have other stuff going on, but
No.
what's you're beat up. We have these tendon, muscle, bone things which can happen. There are more serious back things which can happen, but on the other hand, you're setting yourself up for a very healthy life long term, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I think a good message too is that it's not jiu-jitsu related, but like anything, just you can't just be on the computer all day and just like watch
Mm-hmm.
Netflix. And because by me choosing that life, at one point when I stopped training, I reached the worst
Yeah.
part of my life, which is a blessing because it brought me
Yeah.
into jiu-jitsu, which is now like those young kids are paying the price now. To tell you what, anyone 10 years younger than me, I turn it up like 10% more. Like just a
You're like,
minimum.
look,
Old man? What? Old man? No, that's
old man is here.
Japan.
Dude, I need to add that the reel I'm releasing today as a celebration for our podcast will be the types of old men that you meet in class. It's a coincidence.
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't mean to time that, but I was just thinking like there's a lot of there's a lot of people like us who discovered it a little bit late and they're like thriving and so happy. And like I go to class, man. It's
Yeah.
like my wife asked me, "Oh, how do you motivate yourself to go to class 5 times a week?" And I'm like, there is no
Amazing.
motivation needed. Like I'm not saying everybody's like this, but
Exactly.
it's like going to Disney World at 11:50
True.
a.m. every day. Like it's like
And-
literally getting in a car and going to a party plus Disney plus your favorite movie plus everything. Like I get to go. I get there. I'm so excited. But I know it's not the same for everybody. I know there's different ways of but it's just
yeah.
for some reason in my brain, jiu-jitsu makes me so happy. And like every minute that I'm there, I'm so excited. So before it was like, oh, I gotta go to the gym. Okay. Let's go.
Exactly.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. Okay, go, Bruno, go. Now it's like, push. Yeah, come on, one more. Now it's the opposite. Like I've trained. One day I think my limit was like maybe 3 hours. Like I did gi, no gi or something crazy. There was this like, it was like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Like we used to have classes like that. I think they changed it up. It was just, I'll do gi. I mean, I'll do my normal gi class. Then it was like, I'll stay for no gi. Then this other gi class came in. I'm like, I'll stay for this one too. And I think like 3 hours was, I think I was done I was done with jiu-jitsu for that day. I was ready to go do something else.
God. That's true too. Like I think after a year of jiu-jitsu, that anxiety, that fear of going to jiu-jitsu really like left, and I'm at a point where it's like I don't know, even if I know what the position is of the week, or as soon as I'm there, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Even if I lose, I'll be bummed out a bit, but I'm like, okay, but it goes through my mind and say, how did I lose this tonight? How did I lose that one round that really pissed me off? Like, what did I do wrong? And it just makes you think, and like, okay, next class, I can't do that anymore. And it's a constant like happiness. Like I'm just like, it's painful sometimes. It can be rough, but I enjoy this crazy world of fighting.
Yeah. Totally.
And I want to ask you now, with you being a dad, doing jiu-jitsu 5 times a week, you have 3 girls, and you have this Instagram channel. Holy crap, dude. Not everyone wears capes. I know superheroes don't wear capes, right? Jesus. When he told me... It's funny how we found out like we're both dads after it. I felt like our connection grew even stronger. It's like, oh, you're dad. I'm a dad too.
Of course.
It's like, oh, it's so cool. And so you do this 5 times a day. You do competition, and you have your Instagram channel, which is like doing so well.
Thank you.
And one of my favorite reels is... I'll just name for those you guys have to watch his channel. You have to go on his channel and watch this. It's I always call it the Razor channel, where you meet your friend Razor. So it means this only jiu-jitsu people will understand this. If I can try and do justice, is he goes to a sparring session and he meets this guy Razor and becomes his best friend. Goes to his wedding and he's gonna sleep over his house. It's like the most extreme of extremes. But once you do jiu-jitsu and you bump hands and you meet people, it's like that's probably possible. That might happen in a real situation. So that reel is like amazing, and that's what that's how I found you. That reel just popped up, like that's how I discovered you. I was like, holy crap. So how's Instagram doing for you right now? And 2-part question: where do you see yourself in 5 years and in 1
That's
year?
a great question. Yeah. So first, how's it doing? So first of all, thank you for all the nice words about the account and the reels and stuff. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun, and let me say that I really like your account, and I really like the podcast and what you're doing. And when I first saw your account, it was like this came up like BJJ Tech Nerd, and I was like, man, that's a really cool combination of things, and I'm so glad that like I know exactly what to expect when I talk to this guy, because I don't have to ask any questions. I'm like, hey, this is a BJJ Tech Nerd. This is great. Everybody should have like the 3 words that describe them as part of their name, Then it's like, this is a, tennis hamburger, I don't know, skydiver. but so that's cool. And I like your authenticity and what you're doing. So thank you for putting that out there too. And your account's been doing super well.
Thank you.
So, so I think first of all, I have a lot of fun with it. So you asked me how it's doing, how it's going, how it's doing so far. Like I have so much fun with it. And it's one of the things that I get most into a flow. Like time will just fly by. Like I'm making a video and stuff and then like an hour has gone by, which, my wife complains about a lot. Like, where are you? Why are you hiding? Where are you? He's in the garage again. Go find him. He's making a reel. Stop it. Or she'll see like a story and she's like, I asked you to go get the ladder and you're in there making a reel, making a story about the ladder. So, but time will fly by. And I think that's one thing in life for all of us that's good to pay attention to is those activities that just make your, ego or self-awareness like disappear, that just time just flies by. Like that's something's there, right? You might want to look into it. Like that's a good sign that you're completely engaged. Now that happens to me in jiu-jitsu, but in jiu-jitsu, it's sort of, you're fighting to survive. So it's sort of hard to be thinking about other things. So of course it's a shortcut into flow, right? But when something is not physical and gives you flow, like people like to draw, or people like to, be on a podcast, or people like to record videos, or people like to, sing, like that's a wonderful part of being human, is having those things, physical too. But my only distinction is that the physical stuff that puts you in flow is sometimes easier to find because sports and stuff like that just gets us into flow more often. Cause so obviously that's good, but things which are more mental that put you in flow, I think are wonderful too, because it's just so much fun to do something that you love for a long period of time, and then you're proud of it. And a lot of it is creativity, right? So I have a really good time with it. It's not, people, there's all these articles online, creating content and schedule your content, and you need to be disciplined. And like, I'm like, man, I need to be less making content. Like I talked to some people about, how to optimize, and they're like, stop posting so much. Like, calm down. You're flooding the algorithm with too much Bruno. Like nobody wants this much.
Algorithms, this algorithm.
Yeah,
that.
stop flooding the algorithm. You're over posting, and I'm like, I can't stop. So it's one of those things where there's no effort, right? Like there's effort to like find the time and stuff. So, but that's just one thing.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to love like video editing. It's like high school, like making movies and stuff. I wanted to go to film school, so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that coming out. Like a little bit of I put that on the sideline for a long time. For some reason, when I'm editing video, I can be there for hours, right? It's just weird. I don't know if it's the watching over and over again, the details of it. It gets me really focused. Yeah.
I can understand that.
And like just like creating, when you create like the transition, when you create like that smooth audio and this and that, it's just such a feeling of satisfaction,
Oh, to give you a little extra here, I actually used to do photography
Awesome.
in weddings. So photo and video. So that's for the editing part. Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
It could be addicting. You sometimes just want to be perfect.
Yeah.
A second. No, maybe this angle.
When you hit it right, though, it's like yeah. So, but it's like when you get the right thing, you're just like, man, that was good. And so, I mean, in terms of a few years from now, 1 in 5 years, I think in 1 year, like I want to find like a sort of like a nonprofit to try to help with this thing, like try to channel this into. So what I like about it is that it's been helping people like with laughter and humor. So if you are having a bad day, maybe you see one of my reels and then that makes you laugh, and then it's a little bit better, right? I think early on I was like, why am I doing this? Am I helping anybody? Like, what a waste of time. But a lot of people would write saying, oh, like, that made me laugh, that made my day better, so that's one thing that I appreciate about it. But I would love to channel this into some kind of, we've helped these many people, train and they couldn't afford to, or we've helped these kids, get out of a bad situation with something that, I don't know, that we channel through part-time Jitsu into that. So I want to try to give back, with the time we have on Earth. Just try to do a little bit more of that. And man, I don't know. In 5 years, I think, let me tell you in maybe, what is it, like 2 years maybe, I want everyone I've met.
All right.
Yeah, I want everyone I've met online through jiu-jitsu. We all go to ADCC. And somehow, we have some kind of like, I don't know what the dream is exactly, but we're all there, and there's some kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it's the, BJJ Tech Nerd VIP room, and we all party.
Do you understand
what I'm saying? It's like, it's ADCC. It's every 2 years, and it's a nice dream to have. It's just
party. It's like a Super Bowl of
exactly
jiu-jitsu.
The jiu-jitsu podcast / Instagram world goes there, and we get like we get some kind of I don't know, meeting room or VIP room, and we do like interviews, and we do like reels, whatever medium people are working on, And
Yeah.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Doesn't sound
Yeah.
crazy at all, man. Like I thought I was crazy to start an Instagram channel with only 2 followers, myself, my personal account with my wife, and slowly and behold, it's growing
Yeah.
day by day. I thought it was crazy to do a podcast because I'll be shy and uncomfortable, but here I am doing it slowly, day by day. It's not crazy to think these things. I think anything is possible, and it's good that you
Yeah.
have those goals and you want to give back. I think it's awesome what you're doing, and you're doing it in a funny way too. So that's
Hmm.
what grabs the audience
Hmm.
attention. So I think you should just like do you,
I think
man.
that's the
That's
thing.
it.
Like,
Screw
yeah.
these algorithms. These algorithms, screw them.
Screw them, but also please push our accounts. We don't, we'll do what we want us to.
I love you, algorithm.
Please.
Meta, I
Yeah,
love you, Meta.
yeah. It's like, that's one other thing about jiu-jitsu. It's like, when you feel something is scary, and these are all, they're like cliches, which are also true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I feel something scary. I feel something I can't do, etc. It's almost like, I feel like, okay, maybe I can do it, This is uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's uncomfortable to go, on the BJJ Tech Nerd podcast. Oh, let's sign up. Let's go do it. Like, this is uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable. I was always so scared of putting my like face on the internet and putting points of view out there. Oh, people will judge me. But yeah, people have judged me. They put comments saying, oh, this technique is stupid. Like, oh, that's not funny. Like, lame. And it's just like the traffic thing. Like, of course I'm affected by it. It comes at like, and haven't had any true haters like who really coming after me. So who knows what that's like? But
Mm-hmm.
it comes. You get annoyed. You get irritated. You get sad, and then, man, I don't know. We got to let it go.
There's
Yeah,
only one direction.
yeah.
There's one direction.
Forward.
Forward.
Yeah,
That's it.
for sure.
That's it. In my mind, I always thought I had the Sean Connery voice. I'll be awesome for podcasting. Then I listened to my voice on the live. I'm like, oh my god, I sound like a 19-year-old boy still in puberty. So I don't care anymore. Jiu-Jitsu has taught me that not to care anymore. Just
Yeah,
go forward, continue, get
exactly.
younger, get stronger, do it for the family.
Yeah. Well, I think you have a good quality for podcasting, which is like very like approachable, easy to talk to, open, honest. Like, that's the most important thing, is to be able to be like yourself, and the rest.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters.
I thank you, sir. I think it's mostly my haircut for that.
The headset fits on nicely.
Yeah, it's I heard people dyeing their hair silver
Okay.
is cool now, like Gordon Ryan. So
Yeah.
I'm cool now. That's what it is. This is a natural silver. Bruno, I have to thank you very much for joining this podcast today.
Excellent.
And I have a feeling. I don't mean to point. I have a feeling you'll be back. You will be back.
Whenever
that's my Arnold.
I'll be
Sorry.
back. Whenever I need to put that character in the reels, it's not Arnold. It's BJJ Tech Nerd doing the Arnold impression, and together they create. Man, whenever, just put up the sign, and I'll be here for you. Whenever you put up that BJJ Tech Nerd sign, like this guy, what is it? Like, what you're doing, like a thing, yeah. Then you show that on the sky, and I'll show up for the podcast. So whenever you want to, I'll be back for sure.
That and a little bit of tweet or a little.
Is this like? Does it mean anything? Your famous 5, or
on it?
Is it just
honestly,
high?
That picture was for something I did on YouTube, and I took that picture. I'm like, oh, well, I'm saying hi to people, so let me just fix the background, make it yellow, so it stands out, and it's more observant in Instagram. So
it's a good one.
I haven't changed it since. That's it. There's no meaning to it. Like, are you 5-time world champion? No, I'm saying hi. I think I'm saying hi.
You're hiding here. So, do you actually have a jiu-jitsu tattoo on your wrist?
Oh yeah, I do. Look at that. Since this part of this is since I do no gi, and right now at my school we don't have really a ranking system, but I like to write down every class I do. I take notes in history for like my personal reference. And this tattoo represents the day I started jiu-jitsu, so the day it changed my life. So it's June 21st, 2020.
That's amazing.
But of course, with COVID and time off here and there, almost 2 years, a year and a bit. But yeah, it's just something that meant a lot to me. And my wife's like, yeah, cool, do it.
Man, that's amazing. I need to get one.
Yeah, painful. Go for the top tattoos are the lion, the falcon. What is the snake?
Yeah, the
like, oh
unicorn,
God,
the quadratic equation, Jiu-jitsu
God,
spelled
bro.
wrong.
Just it's you. Well, Bruno, it's been a
Yeah,
blast talking to
same.
you. It's just two dudes talking.
Had a great
That's
time
pretty much it. And we'll, well, me too. And we'll keep in
for
touch
sure.
too, for sure for
Awesome.
the next time. All right, guys, have a good one, and go follow Bruno's
Yes.
channel. All right, you hear me? You hear? Just do it. Have a good day. Us.